So, first and foremost, if you're watching this, I just want to say this particular video, we're going to be talking about the BROOK and Amir Khan fight that happened on the 19th of February 2022 at the AO Arena in Manchester. Now, first and foremost, I've followed both of their careers. Okay, I think they're both really, really good fighters, really good boxers, and I think for them to put the fight on for the British public was absolutely amazing. Like, I was there. Yeah, luckily I was able to get tickets. Me and my cousin went, and it was a spectacle, believe me. Which I'll get into. You'll see little cutaways during this particular video of, scenes where I was there and who I was rooting for, etc. But before I get into that, okay, I am a fan of boxing in general. Okay, not just, the welterweight, the light welter. Like, I like, a lot of different divisions. Now, in this particular case, okay, out of the two of them, I've always maybe been more towards a BROOK, for him to be the winner. Now, I says to a lot of people, the closer it got to the fight, the more BROOK. I've always backed him. I've always swayed towards him anyway. But, I mean, like I said, for them to put the fight on was absolutely amazing. Okay. Now, I said BROOK will win. I'm not just gassing because I'm on here. I genuinely said that BROOK will win, and he'll win by stoppage. Yeah, I said within eight rounds. Okay. It was done within 6. So, watching all the build up, the behind the ropes, the gloves are off, watch all of that, because I do get like invested, into a boxer. I want to have a favorite boxer. That was it. Same with like Ricky Hatton. I've always followed his career, been a massive fan. David Haye, Tony Bellew, always been fans of those sorts of fighters. Now, before I go off too far and lose myself, I'm going to try and stick to this fight as much as I can. So, for me, obviously there's a lot of history. There was a lot of needle there between the two fighters. Okay, so Khan saying he schooled BROOK in sparring. BROOK saying you didn't lay a glove on me, or this or that. There's been a lot of needle between them, and I think the difference with this particular fight is the needle was genuine. You've always got some people that do it to sell a fight, yeah? I look at certain fighters and I think they genuinely dislike each other. Khan and BROOK dislike each other. Chris Eubanks Sr. and Nigel Benn dislike each other. Dillian White, Anthony Joshua dislike it. Do you know what I mean? So, you can kind of see the point that I'm getting at. Now, as I said, watching the behind the ropes, looking at how they were both training, I think it meant more to BROOK to win. I think if BROOK would have lost, he wouldn't have been able to have lived with himself. I really don't. I think he would look at his career and think, okay, I've won a title, I've become a world champion, but I always lost to Amir Khan. I think that's why, for me, BROOK went into it with way more determination, and I think he was adamant that he was not going to lose. For me, Amir Khan didn't need to take the fight. I think it was more so a payday and to give the British public the fight that we wanted to see, which was Khan versus BROOK. It was always a fight that was spoken about. It's been spoken about for years. I think BROOK's trainer, Dominic Ingle, maybe would have insisted that BROOK didn't retire until this fight happened. Now, going to the actual arena, yeah, I went there with my cousin, as I said, right? And when I'm there, I get really, really invested into a boxer. Like, I'm a BROOK fan. Out of the two, I've always said BROOK, right? I think he's got a better chin. He punches a lot harder. His style of boxing is maybe more so my style. And he'll stand and trade, whereas Amir Khan's more of kind of like a Floyd Mayweather style. So jab, 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 1, 2, 3, move around for 20 seconds, bam, bam, move around for 20 seconds, yeah? Nothing wrong with that. Styles make fights. But for me, I just think Brooke went in there, beast mode mentality, and you felt it in the arena because, you know, I was there for a couple of the undercard fights, which I'll touch on, you know, maybe towards the later part of this video. But walking to the arena, being in there, you know, mixing with different fans, you know, you got some Khan fans, some Brook fans, and, you know, I was just, listen, I'm Cal Brook all the way. Now, soaking up the atmosphere was just amazing. You know, I've been to a couple of other fights before. I tried to go to as many fights as I can. You know, if I can get there, I'll definitely get there. But this one, I mean, the fight itself, 6 rounds. Would you have rathered 6 rounds of intense action or 12 rounds of jab and move? Because being there, the 6 rounds absolutely flew by. They genuinely flew by. And for Khan to get wobbled twice in the first round, I said, okay, this will not last. This will not last more than 3 rounds. So when Khan gets rocked, and this is the excitement with Khan, when he gets rocked, when he gets tagged, yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to go down? Is the fight going to be over? Is he going to stand and trade because of his pride and his hurt? Or is he going to, you know, just crumble? And for me, you have to give props to Khan in this fight, right? Because his conditioning was just something else. Because if he didn't train for the 12, 14 weeks that it was when he said he was up in Colorado, if he didn't take the fight seriously, he wouldn't have took those shots. I can tell you that right now. So you have to give Khan credit for what he's done, not just for the, you know, not just for the British scene, but for the sport of boxing in itself. You know, he's had some hard fights. You know, I mean, he's fought what, Danny Garcia, he's fought Canelo, you know, Barrera, like he's been in there with Maidana, like Crawford, like he's had a lot of fights. Even in the early days, like, you know, when he's fighting like Graham Earl, like, you know, I have admired Khan's career. I definitely have. You know, I do think, yes, he has achieved more than what Cal Brook has in the sport. He's fought at a higher elite level. And that's why I says that Khan didn't need to take this fight. You know, he could have just retired and, you know, enjoyed the money that he's made and so on. So, you know, if he does call it, you know, if he does call an end to his career, I think, yes, it will be a shame for the sport. But at the same time, he's what, 35. He's been boxing since he was 17. You know, it's nearly 20 years. It's what, 18 years of being in the sport, you know, of getting punched for our entertainment. It's a lot. And I think for the sake of his health, I do think that he should, you know, just end the career there. Okay, nobody wants to end their career on a loss. But at the same time, you don't want to fight on and then give yourself long-term health issues or concerns. You know, he's got a family, he's got a wife, kids, etc. So for me personally, I feel right now Khan should, you know, hang your gloves up and, you know, still be involved in the sport if he wants to. Obviously, it's his decision, but I'm just saying, just from my perspective, if you're going to be involved in the sport, then yeah, that's fine. Do it from the other side of the ropes. Brook, on the other hand, 35 years old as well. Same situation. He's got kids. You know, he's got a missus. You know, I mean, he's fighting at, what was this fight? 10 stone 8, 10 stone 9. Can he go on and fight a little more? I don't know. I think this has probably taken its toll on him. You know, obviously he's got, you know, damaged eye sockets, hasn't he? You know, he's had them reworked because of Triple G. You know, Golovkin absolutely, literally punched his eyes out. So, you know, it's a situation for me now again. For Brook, does he go on and does he fight, you know, Chris Eubank Jr.? That's something that's been spoken about. Personally, I think it will be an okay fight. you know, Chris Eubank Jr. is a good fighter, but he hasn't really been speaking about Cal Brook for quite a while. It's only of a sudden now that Cal Brook's won against Amir Khan that all of a sudden Chris Eubank is thinking payday. Let me see if I can, you know, fight him. For me, Chris Eubank Jr. should be at world level already. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's been fighting at, you know, the top end of the domestic level, which, you know, it's a good level to be at. But when you look at the likes of Conor Benn, you know, Conor Benn for me is going to get to world level way quicker than Chris Eubank Jr. And that's why I think Cal Brook doesn't really need to take on Chris Eubank Jr. I think bow out of the sport. You know, you said that you don't struggle to, you know, to make weight, to make the welterweight, you know, at 10 stone. Well, this was a catch weight, wasn't it? You know, at 10 stone 9. But I do feel, for me, both fighters, Cal Brook, Amir Khan, I just think that's it for the both of them. I mean, the arena was just absolutely electric. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, the seats that I had were decent seats that I could genuinely see the fighters from where I was sat. And I know that might sound stupid, like, yeah, of course. But I mean, no, you could genuinely see, like, the boxers. Like, I could see their faces and stuff. So we had decent seats. You know, even looking at the post-match interview and, you know, how they both look. I mean, Amir Khan, you know, he just looked done. He looked done. He looked burnt out. You know, he looked like he just didn't want it anymore. You know, like, you know, he said himself, you know, he's been doing it for quite a while now. I personally feel that if Brook is to go on and fight, I think he's got one more fight in him. And if that is the Chris Eubank Jr. fight, then absolutely fine. But I do think he's got one more fight in him. After that, I think that's it. Dominic Ingle needs to, you know, just speak to him and say, listen, you've achieved everything you wanted to. You've been a world champion. You've fought in America. You've defended your title. Yes, you know, you've lost, you know, to a couple of good fighters. I mean, Cal Brook, well, I remember when he fought Carson Jones, you know, when he was doing his own nutrition and stuff like that, and he only just made it through. You know, he's fought Crawford, he's fought Spence, Triple G, you know, Amir Khan. You know, there's been a lot of fights for him as well, a lot of hard fights. But, I mean, for me personally, yeah, I think they both need to call it a day. But it was an absolute slugfest. You know, when you see Khan getting wobbled in the first round, then he got wobbled again twice in the first, then Brook come out in the second round and just literally tried to stick it on him. You know, and the thing is with Khan, when he gets tagged, he likes to tag back. And that's what makes him exciting. That's what makes him, you know, people pay, you know, for pay-per-view and Sky Box Office and so on. But, you know, it was a good fight. I just feel that's the end, you know, as sad as it may seem. But yeah, you know, we'll see. But yeah, like I said, there'll be a couple of highlights in this video, and hopefully you'll like them. So yeah, see this, I said Team Brook. I've always said Team Brook. I said Team Brook will win by stoppage within 8 rounds, and he done it within 6. Listen, credit where it's due to both boxers. You know, this is great for British boxing, and, you know, let's see where they both go. But yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and let me know what you think of or what you thought of the fight that happened between Amir Khan and Cal Brook, or Amir King Khan and yeah, the special one, Cal Brook. What a fight.